We're just hours away from marking a new year on our calendars, but the global pandemic that's truly defined this year hasn't gone away, and it's forcing people everywhere to change up their plans for New Year's Eve. With more, we're joined now live by CBC's Sanjay Maru. Sanjay, what exactly are people going to do this year? It's all changed.
That's right, Chris. A lot indeed has changed. I'll tell you this, I have lived in Windsor, Essex all my life. I have frequented downtown Windsor for a number of New Year's past, but what you see behind me is something I thought I'd never see in my lifetime. Take a look at the scene behind me, or rather the lack of a scene behind me. With the exception of a few cars driving by, in the last 20 minutes, I've actually been doing a head count of the amount of people I've seen walking on the sidewalk. Less than 10 people that I've seen here in downtown Windsor around this 6 o'clock hour. And that's something that you virtually never see, especially in years past, especially on New Year's Eve when there'd be tons of people frequenting the streets at this hour. And of course, the name of the game this year is staying in. That's been the recommendation from public health since this pandemic all started, particularly as concerns arise that people would gather for New Year's. And that means you're not going to see the usual hustle and bustle here in downtown Windsor, but that is having a major effect on businesses.
Unfortunately, due to the lockdown, things have changed.
Normally packed for New Year's Eve, this restaurant, like many others, is forced to keep its dining room seats empty. Calls have been coming in for New Year's pre-orders over the last few days, but Souk says it's not enough to make up for the revenue that would have been generated had diners been allowed inside.
We're trying to make the best out of it, and fingers crossed it's a better year ahead of us.
With 2020 being a year that had us thinking about the people around us more than ever, some New Year's resolutions are becoming more personal.
I want to eat healthier, more fruit and more vegetables. Making cookies with my family.
To go a little less insane because of the coronavirus.
A virus that took over many people's daily lives in 2020. But a psychologist says it's important for people to reflect on living through such a once-in-a-lifetime occurrence as we enter 2021.
All the things that you thought were so important, all the stuff you get stressed out about at work or in your relationships, or things you think you need to have or you don't have, or what if, things that aren't really relevant, this is an opportunity to let them go.
Staying indoors became commonplace for many this year, and that isn't changing as 2021 rapidly approaches.
We try to support local as much as possible, and they happen to have a couple of New Year's Eve meals that it was like, oh, yeah, we deserve a treat too. So I'm picking those up for it this evening.
We are going to order in some Chinese food, and we have all kinds of pop and chips and some mozzarella sticks ready to go.
And over in Sarnia, calls from the region's Chamber of Commerce to support local businesses during what's normally one of the busiest time for restaurants were heard loud and clear. Take the Southside Kitchen, for example, which sold out its pre-orders for New Year's Eve.
I've worked so hard for so long now, and I've lived in Alberta for 14 years, and now I get to cook for my hometown, and we're just having a lot of fun.
And one common thread, Chris, that I heard from a number of people I spoke with today is the idea that this year, not just this night, but this year has been so exhausting that they plan on heading to bed before midnight. They're not even waiting for midnight for them to, celebrate, stay up for New Year's. They're just going to hit the hay kind of early. And I also asked people today what they're most looking forward to as they look ahead to 2021. And two things came up. Most of all, number one, the idea that they can maybe go outside more, and also getting vaccinated. Chris.
Thanks for this, Sanjay. CBC's Sanjay Maru live from downtown Windsor tonight.